Welcome to the Angel Mystic Podcast. I am super excited you are listening because this is where spiritually open minds can come together to explore the wonders of angels, spiritual connections, and the art of manifesting. Hosted by me, Amanda Tooke, the Angel Mystic, your spiritual midwife to help you on your journey to a fulfilling and happy life. You may have seen me on ITV, Channel 4, or even in Fate and Fortune magazine. In each episode, we will delve into the mystical world of angels, offering you insights, guidance, practical tools to deepen your connection with the upstairs so that you can find inner peace, happiness, joy, and create the life that you want. Tune in for weekly, fun conversations, transformational insights that will elevate your spiritual journey and awaken your inner mystic. Please hit subscribe now as we embark on a transformational adventure with the Angel Mystic Podcast. Welcome back to the Angel Mystic Podcast. I can't believe that this podcast is number 45. I know that's not a lot compared to some people, but it is going really quick. And 45 episodes in, 18,000 downloads. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for liking, for downloading, for reviewing, for sharing. It all helps. So before we delve into this podcast, which is called When Spiritual Disconnection Strikes, and how to navigate it, because I'm sure we've all been there. Before we delve in, I want to remind you what is happening on Tuesday the 22nd to Thursday the 24th of October, because my annual free spiritual training, Bringing Out the Woo in You, is going down. It's all happening in Abundance Manifesting. You can find all the details in the show notes. Make sure you grab a place if you want to learn about angels, spirit, connections, energy, all that good stuff. It's all going to be covered in that training. So let's talk about today's topic, what to do when you don't feel connected, because this happens to us all. We all experience spiritual disconnection at times. And I've got to say, when you do, it feels horrible. You are feeling disconnected from your inner self, from your spiritual connections, from your practice, maybe even from the world around you. And if you've ever felt like that, this is an episode that's going to really help you. I honestly think there's many moments in our spiritual journey where we feel like we are like flying with it. We feel vibrant, aligned, and deeply connected. And it's wonderful when we feel that connection to something bigger and greater than us. But there's also the other end of the scale when there's those moments, those times when we feel so disconnected, so distant. We maybe even feel numb. And that can feel really unsettling, especially as we are a spiritual being having this human reality. So today I want to explore that disconnection a little bit with you and help you find some tools so you know what to do when you're in that space yourself. And I want to start by saying, just to hopefully reassure you, that it is impossible to disconnect. Because you are a spiritual being, you cannot disconnect. But often we can ignore it. And that'll happen when life takes over, when we become too busy. So my simple advice is to always slow down with life and increase with connection. That could be more meditation, however you want to connect. But let's go a little bit deeper than just that in this podcast today, because when we do feel disconnected, we often feel like, what's wrong with me? And the first thing I want to say is there is nothing wrong with you. Disconnection, that feeling, is a natural part of your spiritual journey. And it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. In fact, those periods of disconnection can be really helpful if we approach them with curiosity instead of frustration. So connection, whether it's to ourselves, to others, to something bigger and greater than us, to a higher power, to the universe, whatever you want to think of it as, always goes in ebbs and flows. Think of it as your connection to your loved ones, to your partner. It's not always absolutely incredible and amazing. Sometimes there's times when you don't feel as connected to them. And just like the waves and the ocean, it's like a movement. It's a tide. It's not constant. There's an ebb and there's a flow with it all. So just think about that. That's like a normal rhythm of life. So lose the guilt that we often put on ourselves, like what's wrong with me, and start opening up to questions that are going to lead you to some answers. So maybe things like, why don't I feel connected right now? Is there something else I could be doing? Am I losing my path? Is there a sign that I need to do something different? Is it that there is something wrong with my practice that's not working for me right now? But whatever thoughts you've had, however you're wrapping it up and delivering it to yourself, know that you are not alone. Even the most experienced spiritual teachers, me included, experience disconnection from time to time. But judgment will not help. You've just got to recognize it's all part of the journey. So why do we feel disconnected? Why do we have to go through these periods of feeling like they're not there anymore? Like I'm not getting my signs. Now, obviously everyone's going to experience this differently, but maybe it is overwhelmed and burnt out. Life can get so damn busy, so chaotic, so overwhelming. I particularly had a really overwhelming day today. And when we're in that overwhelm, we forget to connect in. We forget to do those little things that we would normally do. When we're juggling so much, when we're running on empty, it's easy to feel disconnected from ourselves, from our spiritual practice, feeling like we haven't got the time to do that. There's too much else to do. Maybe we've got emotional blocks. Maybe we've got like fear or grief or anger that can really stop those connections. Maybe there's something that we need to work through and process, and that can feel uncomfortable at times. Maybe there's been a change of routine. When you go on holiday or you move house or somebody comes to stay with you, you can't perhaps do the usual things that you normally do, and you step away from those regular practices. It's easy not to meditate one day and then 2 days, and next thing you're a week in and you've not done a meditation, or you're journaling or spending time in nature. It's really easy to drop the ball on your spiritual practice, and that'll stop your connection, because there's things we need to do every day to help us feel connected. So maybe you're just going through a phase at the moment. Maybe you are needing to look at things differently. Whatever is coming up for you, remember that disconnection doesn't mean a failure. It's just part of the process. So now that we understand why we might feel disconnected, let's talk about what you can do when you're in that space. Let's give you some tools that you can work with to help you overcome it, to help you get back on track. When we feel disconnected, our first instinct is obviously to push through it, to force ourselves back to connection, to beat ourselves up. But here's the thing. Forcing connection doesn't work. It pushes it the other way. So give yourself permission to be exactly where you are and know you are exactly where you are meant to be. Take a deep breath in and say to yourself, it's okay that I feel disconnected right now. Give yourself permission to feel disconnected. And you might be surprised at how much relief you get by just doing that, because you're dropping the judgment, the guilt. And once you've created that space of acceptance, then you can go a bit further on. Maybe you could reground yourself in the present moment. After all, now is all we have. And disconnection often pulls us away from the present moment. So one of the simplest ways of reconnecting is just to come back to right here, right now. Grounding yourself. Feeling like you've got roots coming out of your feet, going down into the earth. Noticing your breath in your body. If you're outside, putting your feet on the grass, or just noticing the trees, the sky, the air, all of those ways, sort of things we can notice take us into this present moment. And when you do get to returning back to your spiritual practice, do it gently. Don't force yourself into, I've just got to do a big long meditation, even though you feel like you've got 101 other things to do. Do something small, something manageable. Maybe it's just a grounding exercise. Maybe it's just sitting in silence, a little bit of breath work. Maybe lighting a candle with an intention, a little bit of gratitude. Let your practice meet you where you are at, because your practice is tools to help you. And give yourself a big dose of compassion. No self-judgment. I should be doing better. Why can't I feel more connected like I used to? Why am I not as good as other people? This is not a race. This is your own journey. Imagine this is your friend going through this. What would you say to them? Offer yourself some kindness. And then I like to look at what the message in disconnection is. Is it a way for you to readdress things? Is it a way for your soul to communicate something to you that needs attention? Maybe something's out of balance. Maybe you need a bit more sleep, a bit more rest. Maybe there's something to explore. What is that disconnection showing me, teaching me? Is that something you can journal on? And as ever, we need to trust the process. Trust in the process, knowing that this will pass. Just like that tide, just like connection will return. Because you can't disconnect. Sometimes we need a little bit of patience and a lot of trust. These moments of disconnection are not the end of your spiritual journey. They are a necessary part of it. And they create space for something new to emerge, to come along for you, to serve you, to support you, even if you can't see that yet. I think it's really important to mix with the right people. People that get it. I mean, I am much happier around my spiritual friends that are noticing the same energy shifts I'm noticing, that I can have my wacky conversations with, that get all my woo-woo stuff, that I could say to them, oh my goodness, I'm feeling so disconnected. I'm not feeling connected. I feel unsupported right now. They would get that. So hanging out with the right people. This is the value of being in spiritual boot camp, being in abundance club. You're mixing with people that are going to get this. And I think it's important to know your places to connect and your best times to connect. For me, it's my bedroom. I love disconnecting from everything else, from the internet, from my family, and just being in my bedroom, connecting with my angels, chatting to my angels. I try to do anything that I need to do on my phone before I go into my bedroom at night, so that I know that's my place to connect. I get great connection sat in my hot tub. I get great connection when I'm swimming, when I'm driving, when I'm by the coast. All of those places are my places to connect. So when I feel disconnected, they're the places that I go to. But you're not alone in this feeling. Disconnection happens to us all. It's all part of the journey. And you don't have to fix it right away. You need to be accepting of it. And trust that your connection will come back in perfect timing for you. Keep yourself grounded. Return to your practice gently. Offer yourself compassion. And there's no judgment. There's no judgment. So thank you for joining me today in this episode. I hope it's brought you some comfort, some ease, some peace when you're feeling disconnected. And just know that this too shall pass. Until next time, bye for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If so, please hit follow and share my message by sharing with your friends. It would be amazing if you can leave a review. All this will help, and it activates the universal law of the more you give, the more you receive. So it's a win-win. You can find more good stuff between episodes over on social media. Just search The Angel Mystic on Facebook, Instagram or TikTok, or check out the links in the show notes. I'd love for you to connect more over in my free group in Abundance Manifesting, all on Facebook. Hope to see you there.